All right, hello, welcome to the weather updates. 9:30, April 18th, and there's your coastal low there developing. Looks like over the Chesapeake Bay there now, moving northward. Satellite image. Obviously, we are socked in with the cloud. Look at this thing. I mean, it almost looks like some kind of hybrid storm, almost a little bit. Kind of a gray, and we had some sun to start, but then evening, kind of gray, very threatening looking skies out there. Let's go look at the radar right now. So we're going to look at this. You can see the rain that is the heavy rain that is going to be coming to our area very shortly. And you can see it's absolutely pouring. There may be some sleet over here, perhaps. Maybe why. But Allentown, Easton, the mountains of Pennsylvania, this area here, Lancaster. This area is getting hit real hard here, eastern Pennsylvania. And there's another little line over here. I wonder if there's any lightning with this. And then heavy rain out throughout New Jersey. This is all moving northward. And you can see north of that, we've got heavy snow in the mountains. Ithaca, Oneonta, getting the snowfall. We're going to look and see if there is actually any lightning with this. Let's go ahead and look at that right now. If there's any lightning being reported with any of this. I do not see any. So let's go to the Weather Service's webpage here, and we'll look at the radar again in a moment. But let's take a look at the latest briefing. We have a coastal flood advisory, gale warning for the offshore waters, as well as a wind advisory in effect as well through tomorrow morning. All right, so let's go to the latest briefing on this storm. Coastal flooding. Vulnerable coastal locales during time of high tide tonight. Moderate widespread coastal flooding 2 to 2.5 feet above ground along the western Long Island Sound. Moderate, widespread minor to locally moderate flooding 1.5 to 2 feet above the ground along Great Western, South Bay, and Jamaica Bay. That's on the South Shore. And minor coastal flooding in the New York Harbor, eastern Long Island, and 5 in South New Haven. Strong winds. 25 to 35 mile an hour winds sustained with gusts to 55 miles an hour between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. A few locally higher gusts are possible across eastern Long Island. Strong winds will down numerous tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. A few scattered trees and power lines could be downed. Travel will be difficult, especially for high-profile vehicles. Heavy rain, 1 to 2 inches storm total, most falling between the hours of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. Rainfall rates up to a half an inch an hour. Flash flood threat for New York City, New Jersey Metro, as well as near fast-responding rivers and streams in New Jersey. Minor urban and poor drainage flood threat elsewhere. And to the northwest of I-84 in western Orange County could see 2 to 4 inches of snow above elevations of 750 feet. So the wind advisory is from 8 p.m. tonight till 6 a.m. in the morning. Gale warning from 6 p.m. tonight till 6 a.m. for all coastal waters. Coastal flood warnings and advisories around times of high tides later tonight. Flood watch, 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. This is what we're looking at here, and you see some of the expected peak wind gusts. We're going to go over the models. Expected rainfall. Snowfall won't be an issue in our immediate area. You'd have to go way up, like I said, in Orange County for that. So let's take a look and see what we got going on current condition-wise. And we will look at the radar again, but this is what we have. We got some wind gusts already out there being reported. 28 mile an hour wind gust at Farmingdale, 23 mile an hour wind gust. You can see that east wind, very raw east wind. You just definitely started feeling it later this afternoon and this evening. And it was cold too, 35 mile an hour wind gust, Gilgo Beach. But look out over the waters here. We got a 42 mile an hour wind gust here at the buoy. East wind at 34, gusting to 42. So this is what we're going to have to deal with here. And you can see the Jersey Shore is getting some strong wind gusts. There's a 40 mile an hour wind gust at Harvey Cedars. So, these are the strong winds that we're starting to see across our area. And we're not even in the worst of it yet. Let's see if we can get... I'd like to see some wave heights. And this is frozen. It's nice. Storm coming bearing down on us. This damn thing has decided to freeze up on us. All right, well, we'll have to go and look at this because it's still waiting. All right. I'll have to do it this way. So, Islip 45, east wind 18, gusting to 23. The dew point 35. So dew points are low. That's been helping us. All right, finally loaded here. All right, let's look at this one. All right, so this buoy here, east wind to 27, gusting to 36. No wave heights being reported here, so I guess we'd have to go and look at the... They don't always record the wave heights. I noticed it's one thing that they don't always record the wave heights. So let's see what the wave heights are. No wave height observations. How can you have a buoy and to report wave height observations? I don't understand that. That I do not understand. Let's see. Maybe this one does. No wave heights. I do not understand why none of these are reporting wave heights. All right. Well, I tried. Can't say I didn't try. For some reason, it's not showing wave heights. I don't know why. This is, it's kind of messed up. But anyway, you see temperatures are in the mid-40s. It's raw. It's cold out there. And if we look at our highs for the day, which we'll go over right now. Excuse me. It's pretty cool today. Only low 50s for highs. Pretty much only low 50s. And in Jersey, where the rain was, actually only in the 40s for highs because it was raining there. The rain had started there earlier today. Now let's look at the low temperatures, see how low West Hampton got. So it reached 23 degrees in West Hampton last night. That's pretty cold. Islip got down to 33. It was a pretty chilly night. You can see even at 28 in northern Nassau there. And some temperatures below freezing also in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. 25 there as well. So, yeah, there was some really excellent radiational cooling this morning, and it was a very cold morning. So, yeah, very interesting to say the least. Excuse me. Yeah, yawning a lot. So we can look at some of these other sites like West Hampton, for instance. And you can see here West Hampton, 40s most of the day. Look at what happened in the morning. Take a look at this. So look at how fast it dropped. It went from 40 to 34 in an hour, then from 34 to 29 in an hour. Then it kind of leveled off and kept dropping steadily. Here we are, 26 degrees almost at 7 in the morning. And then an hour later, it jumped up to 44 when the wind picked up and blew that radiationally cooled air away. That is interesting right there. So that's some interesting radiational cooling right there that you're seeing. And we saw that in a lot of areas last night. Go to Wonder map, since that seems to work better. Look at a few more sites and we'll see if Ridge got that radiational cooling too, because that's also in the Pine Barrens as well. So see if they got that radiational cooling as well. Let's see, temperatures. Yeah, well, not quite as impressive, but you can see there's that radiational cooling you could see. Very interesting to see that radiational cooling take place. The conditions were really good for radiational cooling last night. Really good. Let me see if I can pick a few more cold spots here. Pine Valley. This may be an area that gets very cold. It got down to 29. You see, look at how cold it got. And then once the wind picked up, see, look, the winds were calm. And then when the wind picked up, temperature shot up because it blew the little low level cool air out of the way, it was low level. That's an interesting thing about it. It was low level, and we saw some of that here as well. Muttontown also. That's another area that has a lot of radiational cooling. Yep, got down to 28, and then look at that, shot up once the winds came. Very interesting. Very interesting. I don't want to spend too much time on the radiational cooling, but it's still, to me, it's very interesting. Well, I'll show you one more area in New Jersey, just to show you again the power of this radiational cooling. Yeah, look at this, 28, and then Once the winds start, yeah, shot up. That's cool. I like looking at that. I really do. But anyway, let's focus on our storm here. Again, here's the satellite of it. We can pull out a little bit. The CONUS view. There's the storm right there, you can see. And we're going to look at the radar on the weather service site. So again, you'll see the heavier rain starting to move in. So it's going to start. We had a couple of drops here and there, but now very shortly, by the time this video is up, probably going to start raining. And you can see it's going to be a pretty steady, heavy, moderate to occasionally heavy rain there. Looking at this radar, you see. I think this is just reflections of possibly sleet falling in this area, perhaps. That you see that when you might have graupel or snow pellets or sleet in this particular area here. Looks like in the Hudson Valley. So let's go to the models now, and we'll go over to tropical tidbits, and we'll look at the eastern U.S. We'll take a look at the eastern U.S. view first in the GFS. So here's this low forming along the coast, and it's going to shoot right up into the Hudson Valley. It's going to shoot kind of an unusual track, actually. But you can see heavy snows up in upstate New York. Albany could wind up getting hit very hard with heavy snowfall. And then this thing moves out and is out of here by tomorrow afternoon. But in the meantime, we're going to be dealing with some strong winds with this thing. So if we go to the winds here, you can see some pretty strong winds over our area. And this is the GFS, so we're kind of using this. We'll go to the HRRR in a minute, but you can see some strong winds occurring. The worst of it's probably going to be around midnight. And as far as where the worst winds will be, it looks like the East End. Jersey Shore and probably East End along the shore. And then the winds calm down by they won't go away, but they'll calm down by the afternoon. But you see how tight those isobars are. So when you see something like that, you know you're dealing with an intense storm. So let's go to the northeast view, and we'll go to the HRRR, which fortunately we have enough of that 0C run in this time to get us through the whole storm. So this is the HRRR. Rain's going to start shortly. You can see steady and heavy at times. And with those tight isobars, there's the center of the low. Really tight. Right over the Jersey Shore. The center of this thing is going to track right up the Jersey Shore, over New York City, maybe a little bit east of New York City, maybe Queens, Nassau, and then it tracks as we get towards sunrise. It is now into Connecticut. But this is a very unusual track. It almost reminds me of a tropical system. It's a very unusual track for a storm to take. And it's not a good track because that southeast to east wind is going to pile the water into the South Shore a lot, as well as New York Harbor. And we could see some pretty bad flooding from this. And we do have a full moon, too, or we're coming off a full moon. So this is not good for the coastal flood threat. I think it's being underestimated by this. It could be a lot worse than we think. So, yeah, this is a pretty bad situation right here. All right, and if we look at the total amount of rain we're going to see out of this, rainfall totals, you'll see that 1 to 2 inches of rain is likely. And if we go and we look at where the snow will fall, I think the HRRR has this thing down pretty good. You can see, look at that. It's like maybe Albany or just north of Albany. They're going to get over a foot of snow in the mountains. So this is a lot of snow. So we'll look at the dew points, which shows you the airflow. So we're going to use this again to take a look at the airflow, and you can see, look at that tropical moisture just getting pinched right into the storm there. I'm going to show it right here. Just getting pushed into it. And that's going to give the storm energy and moisture to work with. And that is quite a lot of moisture there for it to work with. And you can see those strong isobars. Really almost does remind me of a tropical system. It really does. And then behind it, winds shift to the west. It almost does remind me of a tropical system. It really does. It's quite unusual, to say the least. Of course, there are other models we can look at. We'll look at the wind first. Well, this is the HRRR with the wind. You can see over the water. It has the worst wind over the water, but it always tends to do that and underestimates the wind over the land. We could see in certain pockets the winds will be stronger where those showers are, because what it will do is it will tap into the stronger winds aloft, because these will be convective in nature. These are the winds at 850, and look at that. That's some pretty strong winds, and it actually gets stronger as it moves over Long Island. It's just after midnight. And then the low center passes. The good news is it's moving pretty quick, but it's just going to be, the storm is going to pack a wallop. It's going to pack a wallop. So I want to look at a few other parameters here. I want to go to the NAM 12. I think there is something in here. There was some parameter that I wanted to use that I hadn't used in a while, but it just shows you the amount of moisture a storm has to work with. And I'm trying to remember what model it was on. I'm going to have to kind of remember where that is. If I can't find it, I can't find it. I thought it was on the NAM 12. We saw this. Obviously, we have the F-Gen. And there's a lot of that. This is the 0Z run. But look at that. That's a lot of lift right there going on. A lot of lift. That's what's going to produce that heavy rain. Look at all that lift right around midnight. That seems to be when we're going to be getting the worst of this thing. But I wanted to look at one of the parameter here. It's like, I don't remember what model it is used with. And maybe it was used with the GFS. But if I can't find... here we go. This is the one. So, this kind of shows the dry air. Look at all the moisture this thing has to work with. So, this is where we're going to see that heavy rain. But you see, once we get after midnight, notice how the dry air starts working in. That'll cut off the precipitation very rapidly. So this kind of shows you this kind of illustrates what I wanted to show you here. This has a lot of moisture to work with. And I can hear the rain starting too as well. And again, if we look at the GFS on the winds, you will see here the strong winds that this thing is going to produce. All right. So I do want to look at a few other models. NAM 3, 18Z run, and we're going to go and look at the precipitation, radar, and wind simulation. Yeah, actually, this one I want. Again, see those tight isobars. See that heavy rain moving in. This is going to be some pretty heavy rain. I can't rule out some thunder and lightning. Look at that. As it moves a red right over Nassau County, it is going to pour. And then this thing, once it moves to the north, the precipitation cuts off and we're done. And the skies will even clear out as we get toward tomorrow. So as we get toward tomorrow, skies will start to clear out by the afternoon. We'll have some clouds around but mixing with the sun, but you see the skies will clear out. And Wednesday looks like that could be a pretty decent day, pretty sunny day. Our gem also will show that as well, but I'll just go over that briefly. Here's Wednesday. Wednesday looks pretty nice. Now, as far as temperatures go, let's go back to the GFS. Show you what's going to happen to our temperatures once this thing passes. So tomorrow will be on the chilly and breezy side with passing clouds and sun. After this is all over, we're going to have temperatures probably getting close to 50. Be cold on Wednesday morning. Temperatures dropping to the upper 30s, the low 40s. And then for Wednesday, we're going to have highs below normal and probably in the mid-50s. All right, so that's pretty much what I want to focus mostly on this storm, and I want to use a couple of other sites now to visualize what this storm is. All right, so this is a sustained wind speed on the HRRR here. Well, all right, so let's get to 11 o'clock tonight. And we'll just go to the wind gusts. So these are the wind gusts. You can see, look at the Jersey Shore. Get to see some very strong wind gusts. This is 11 o'clock, so Long Island's still not getting into the worst of the wind yet. All right, let's move this over to midnight. Now, as midnight, you can see the worst winds are now coming over Long Island. Still the Jersey Shore experiencing the highest winds. All right, move this over to 1 o'clock. You can see Long Island is starting to get into some of the stronger winds now. and especially 2 o'clock. Now with the center sitting over New Jersey, I notice it's much slower than some of the other models here. Look at that. Gusts up to 70 possible. As far as they haven't gone with a high wind warning, especially the east end, because look at that. Gusts to 70 possible. And this is, so it brings the center over at 4 a.m. HRRR a little slower than some of the other models. But still a lot of wind with this thing. A lot of wind. And if we, again, visualize the waves, you're going to have waves over 10 feet crashing in at the beaches. This is going to cause, and with the way the storm is tracking, with the way the wind is blowing in like the way it is, clear this, whenever you have a storm going over New York City or over western Long Island, it's going to sock the South Shore and the Jersey Shore with a lot of surf. And there could be a lot of flooding in this area. So it could be pretty bad in these areas. The only saving grace is it's a relatively short duration. It figures maybe 6 hours or so. But this, again, some pretty strong winds. Once we get to 5, you can see the winds back off a little bit, and then we're, just have regular gusty winds. But still, it's gonna be bad. And again, this is looking at the HRRR's wind output. All right, so you have the wind, and you combine that with the heavy rain. All right, that's the other thing. You have the rain falling, the river's trying to flow out to the bays, and the water getting pushed back in. That can also help cause flooding up those rivers as well. Let's go to windy.com, the other model. This is the European model, kind of visualizing the storm here. This is not wind gusts. This is just wind. All right. The east at 38, east at 28. Nassau is not getting quite as much. This is at 3 a.m. This is the Euro is a lot slower with this thing. Euro is a lot slower and looks a lot different. I really don't want to go and look at the Euro. I don't think it has this thing right. The HRRR is the most realistic I've seen. So we can go, again, looking at wind speeds. And we will go back this up to tonight at 10 o'clock. And we'll go just above the surface here. So this is 10 meters above ground. We'll go 500 meters above ground. And you can see here, just 500 meters up, winds are already 45 miles an hour. And over southern parts of the Jersey Shore, you got winds approaching hurricane force at 500 meters up. This is pretty impressive. Here we are at 11. You see those stronger winds getting closer. Right, this is not that high up above the surface. So look at this. This is midnight now. You can see that there's going to be some strong winds, and this is 1 o'clock, I think, is when we're going to start seeing the worst of it on Long Island. Going to start moving off the Jersey Shore. Remember, this is at 950 millimeter HPA, 500 meters up above us at 1 a.m. So if there's a shower or a thunderstorm that develops, it could bring those strong winds down to the surface. And that's something to consider. Look at that. So this is 3 a.m. 4 a.m. It actually gets stronger as it moves over New England. And this is not that high up. This is only 500 meters up, which isn't that high. Now we go and look at the thunderstorm threat, which we'll go ahead and look at. Obviously, not a whole lot of CAPE to work with tonight. But one thing we can do is look at the lifted index. And there is some of that. There's some of that. So anything that's convective could help bring that down to the surface. And it's got humidity to work with. You can see that humid air offshore. It's got humidity to work with. It's got tropical air to work with. It's very, very unusual type of coastal storm to see, actually. You see it take this track and just have this kind of structure to it. It's kind of reminiscent of a hurricane or a tropical storm that went over land and then rode the inland area. So it's very interesting to say the least. So I think that'll wrap up this weather update. So obviously a very stormy night tonight. Get ready for a windy soaker tonight. And then we'll have much better weather as we get to your Tuesday, later on Tuesday and Wednesday, calmer weather and sunshine. So that is going to wrap up this weather update. And again, we have all these warnings in effect, and I'll try to keep you updated on the storm. Again, this is the weather map here. Also, you could look at power outages. I don't think there are too many right now. Let's see. Yeah, there are only 8, but that number is probably going to go up quite a bit as we head through the evening. So that's going to wrap it up as we watch for this unusually and strong coastal low-pressure center going right up the Jersey Shore into New York Harbor.